ECOWAS Regional Electricity Regulatory Authority (ERERA) and the African Development Bank (AfDB) is set to launch a new regional initiative to improve the sustainability of the electricity sector in West Africa. The initiative aims to achieve this through effective, harmonized, transparent, and enforceable regulatory frameworks that set out clear principles, rules and processes and standards for the ECOWAS region. A press release by the Department of Communication, ECOWAS Regional Electricity Regulatory Authority, indicated that the principal objective is to facilitate the efficient utilization of regional energy infrastructure to further enhance regional electricity trade.
Regional entities to develop appropriate tools and frameworks, build the capacities for harmonization of regulatory frameworks. So I'm delighted to mention that in addition to these ECOWAS projects, the bank is funding similar regulatory harmonization initiatives in SADC, COMESA, and ICAS. So the synergies between these parallel initiatives will devoted into an integrated, harmonized, and regulated continental power market. So I believe in the commitment and the capacity of ERERA in collaboration with its key stakeholders to effectively and timely execute this project with the aim of achieving expected tangible and measurable outcomes. So I therefore wish to request further support from you.
Through selected activities and the identified tools, ERERA aims to assist national regulatory bodies in acquiring adequate knowledge that would enable them to carry out the necessary regulatory work in developing the regional market in the national level. Entitled The Regional Harmonization of Regulatory Frameworks and Tools for Improved Electricity Regulation in ECOWAS, the initiative seeks to provide tools for harmonizing regulatory frameworks to facilitate the efficient and timely completion and utilization of regional energy infrastructure. This would be done through the elaboration of regulatory and utility key performance indicators for ECOWAS harmonized comparison of electricity tariffs in ECOWAS and cost reflectivity assessment.
There is a similar project initiatives. We are providing technical assistance to SADC in Southern Africa. We are providing technical assistance for COMESA, which covers some part of SADC countries, East African countries, and also Northern African countries, because COMESA includes also Libya and Egypt. And within the Central African Republic region, ICAS, the Central Africa region. So we are providing in all the regions in Africa similar technical assistance to harmonize regulatory frameworks, but also at the end, we will have a harmonized regulatory framework across the continent. So the focus is, to have particularly out of this project, you will have templates whereby if an investor is coming in ECOWAS, the investor should have the same templates to complete like in SADC, like in the Central African region. So the objective is not only to have those templates, but also along the overall frameworks. But under the frameworks, the countries can have their own regulatory frameworks, but the overall regional framework will be the same across the continent. The harmonization templates the project will provide is how to develop the methodology for the tariff, for instance, or how the licensing framework. So if you go to Cote d'Ivoire, you will have almost the same licensing framework like in SADC countries or in East Africa region. The project is an 18-month project, and we do really think that from now, within that time framework, we will have all tangible outcomes from the project. This one is focusing only on the power sector, electricity sector regulation. So in East Africa, we are financing, as I said, within the COMESA region, the similar project on the power sector. This project initiative is not covering transport.
Is to support us as regulators. ERERA is the regional regulator for the West Africa, to support us to do part of some of our jobs. So they are supporting us in carrying out about 4 projects. Number 1 is on the harmonization of the electricity tariffs, the prices. To see that then in one document you come out to see the tariffs in different part of West Africa. Maybe this is what Sierra Leonean are charging, this is what is charged in Ghana, this is what is happening in Nigeria, what is happening in Togo, Senegal, and also that is what and then the methodology of setting the tariff, to see that you bring it in one document. And the other support is we want to look at the extent as regulators and as regional electricity market, we are able to attract investment. Are we able to attract investment to the sector? So we want one of the studies will look into the investment that was we were able to attract in different parts of West African countries. And the other one is on the issue of the RIM, what we call the regional sort of information system. It's a sort of information systems which is needed by all the key stakeholders within the regional electricity market, including the consumers, including the stakeholders, that is the civil society groups. And so we have an information platform where they can go in and get a lot of information. So these are some of the support which we are getting from the African Development Bank, at least for now, to enable us to carry out these studies, which will be useful not only to ERERA but all the regulators within the regions, and to researchers and to universities and students who are interested in knowing what is happening in the sector. So basically this is what we are expecting, the support we are getting from the African Development Bank. This is the second time they are giving us this kind of support, and we hope it will continue. Thank you very much for that question. Yeah, that is the end, that is the goal, that is the central issue. But we are already seeing it. Today we are seeing 2 types of transactions. There is the bilateral transaction that is between 2 parties, and then there is the other one, the day-ahead market, where you don't know the buyer and you don't know this. The buyer doesn't know the seller and the seller doesn't know the buyer, and both are happening today. And I'm happy to say Ghana is in the center, because Ghana you have a bilateral transactions with Burkina Faso, you have it with Togo, and then you have Cote d'Ivoire. They are having bilateral transaction with Mali, with Burkina Faso, and Nigeria. They have bilateral transactions with Benin and Niger. So things are working. Both bilateral transactions, as I said, and also the day-ahead market. Day-ahead market is happening today. That is, you just indicate your interest that I have a capacity. Then the other party who is interested in buying will say, okay, I'm ready to buy, and they just consummate the transaction within a day. And by the next day, you start getting electricity. It is happening today. Yes, and it's being coordinated at the center in Benin, that is the Calabria, the WAPS information coordinator. So that is where it is being centered. So actually, I'm happy to say things are working. They've started. We are seeing where the market is functioning. So we are selling, people are selling, people are buying on both the 2 types of the transaction. We are getting from AfDB, I think it's almost 500 million, I think about $5 million also. It's a substantial amount of money, and it's going to be used for those projects which I specified. That is the harmonization of the tariffs and tariff figures and tariff methods of setting the tariffs, the issue of investment in the sector and the investment in the electricity sector, and also the information system, which is very critical for the planning and also for the investors. When investors are coming in, they want to have a whole lot of information. So all this information will be brought in together and ready for consummation by the investors and also by the regulatory institutions, market. More especially to provide information to the regulators and also at the national level and regulators at regional level, and also the investors who are coming to invest in the generation and transmission. Mostly investment that is coming in the area of generation and transmission. Transmission is a key when you come to exporting electricity. Just like the highway. If you don't have the highway, there is no way you can export goods and services. And also, all this we are trying to find a way of making the continent, and specifically West Africa, very competitive when it comes to the single free trade areas. You need to compete. How do you compete? You have to bring in your cost of production, and electricity by implication is key to bringing down your cost of production so you can compete with other African or African or world you can compete in the world. So you see, if your cost of production is higher, you find out you have to continue to import textile from Indonesia and some other countries, but because their cost of production is low. So it's multi-facet, so it has many implications, both to the generators, transmission, and to the producers.
Thank you for watching Nation One TV. Kindly subscribe for more news updates.